incredible 35 frames played over 4 sessions between now and tomorrow evening. John Higgins attempting to join Ronnie O'Sullivan as a 5-time world champion. Mark Selby going for a 3rd title in only 4 years, and with it, a chance to join 3 legends who've won it on back-to-back occasions at the Crucible. And one of them, Stephen Hendry, is in the commentary box today, and he's alongside another former major winner himself, a former UK champion, John Virgo. Great occasion, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Hazel. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, there's nothing like...
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The
final
first
frame
of the World Snooker Championship
John Higgins
at the Crucible, Sheffield. And as you say, it's going to be played over 4 sessions, first to 18, to lift that magnificent trophy. But we well know, Stephen, that this first session is always very, very important in it. Just to get a foothold or stay in the match or all those psychological things that you think about.
Yeah, very much so. I agree totally. The last thing you want, I think more so in John Higgins' case than Mark Selby's, but the last thing John wants to be doing is chasing this final the whole way for 2 days. I think John Higgins can, well, it's a world final, he's not going to relax, as it were, but I think he can enjoy it. I think he's definitely the underdog. He's got nothing to lose, in my opinion. Can he just relax and play the snooker that we know he's capable of? That's a good start. It's very average, really, for his standard in his semi-final, but came through very comfortably without making a century break, I think, in that whole semi-final, John.
He's okay. Maybe just overscrew that slightly.
4.
You wouldn't be human if you weren't feeling a little bit of nerves in these opening exchanges.
Five.
That one not right in the heart of the pocket, but safely in. Couple of reds above the black available. That's why didn't have to go into the reds to play any cannons. And he's played that nicely.
10.
And it's been a bit of a resurgence of John Higgins this season. Won 3 ranking
11.
events early on in the season to show that he was no back number. Then just went off the boil a bit, but he's produced some great snooker in this championship this year. His performance against Mark Allen, if he produces that, Stephen, he's got a chance here.
18.
Well, he's got more than a chance if he can reproduce that. It's funny, early on, you can see, I was thinking, you know when John Higgins is focused, if you watch after every pot, his tongue comes out slightly. And that, to me, is a sign when he's at, in the zone, focused.
Just got to be precise with this, playing for a red in the same pocket as the black. Judged it nicely.
Yep, there it is. You'll see that almost every shot. Oh, that didn't sound too good. That did not sound good.
No, that was a bad contact. A contact that took all the pace out of the cue ball. Thankfully, you see it bounce. Thankfully, the red went in, but this black tricky. But he's caught with it nicely. A shake of the head Is he
34.
not on this red? He can't get through to the red. I mean, that was a good pot. Played it with a trace aside. If that cue ball, a little bit more pace, may have released and he'd been on this red, but as you can see, just can't get to the potting angle.
Yeah, I think he wanted to have just a slight flick on the red that he's snookered by. Just didn't quite get the side on the cue ball that he wanted, or get the reaction that he was hoping for off the cushion.
John Higgins, 34.
Oh, this is careless. Oh, that's careless. You don't make a 34 break and then play a careless shot like that. He'll be disappointed. Can't be leaving the pot on.
One.
He's got quite an acute angle on this blue. He wants to go into the pink. He really nip the cue ball. He thought about it. This needs good striking. And he did.
Four.
Yeah, good shot. Doesn't have to do much with this red, so just roll it in, even though he's closer to the cushion than he would like. Yeah, it's right in the heart of the pocket.
5.
And John Higgins will be sitting in his seat now thinking, what was I doing with that safety shot? All he had to do was make certain he didn't leave the pot on. He couldn't leave anything. But where the reds are, just needed that cue ball to run this side of the black. How costly will that careless shot be?
I used to find playing in world finals, a
12.
4-session match over 2 days. The final session seems so far away when you start in the afternoon of the Sunday. Oh, that was a nice little kiss off. The last kiss that he got.
13.
Just took the cue ball up towards the blue. Otherwise, he was going to be on nothing there.
Yeah, he's got a bit of work to do here. Got to get this cue ball in and out of the balk end. He doesn't want to kiss in a balk colour. No, he's got a good line. But as hard as he hit it, I thought
80.
the cue ball would have run down the table a bit further. This is no gimme.
Nineteen.
Yeah, apparently the cushions have been recovered for today's and tomorrow's final, so perhaps didn't get the speed of that blue out of balk that he'll get maybe in a few frames' time. He put a good red to rescue the situation, and this is an excellent positional shot. He'll be disappointed not to win the frame from here.
23. $24.
Yes, when you look at the table, you can't see a difficult ball, apart from the pink, but he doesn't need the pink. He can win this frame without worrying about that. It just shows you though, Stephen, doesn't it? You just can't drop your guard for a second of this game.
31.
John Higgins was playing a nothing safety shot. Left the red. Looks like costing the frame.
Yeah, and that's why
32.
this tournament is such a test of stamina, concentration. Because one lax shot, you think, oh well, I'll get away with that, but you don't at this level. And probably the last player you'd expect to do that is John Higgins.
That takes Mark now 5 points into the lead.
39.
With the 4 reds left on the table. And blacks, you would assume. That would have been enough to get to the
40.
snooker's required stage. There you go, another 24 points needed. There's 7 of them. You'll be playing for the red on the left-hand side of the table here. Could have played it better. Could have played it better. I thought
47.
he'd have screwed off the side cushion to get on it.
That's exactly what I was thinking, John. If you use the cushion, you got much more chance of leaving yourself a decent pot. That was a much margin for error the way he played it.
Blind pocket. No, but right in the heart.
48.
But he's going to need a cannon now. He's going to have to pot this black and cannon the left-hand red of the 2 just above the black. If he gets this right, frame over. And he got it right. Perfectly played. So that careless safety from John Higgins, surely,
55.
will cost him this first frame.
Has to be said, both players looking sharp.
56.
When John Higgins was in, but for a better kiss when he went into the reds, these could have been his. One careless positional shot, and Mark Selby's looked very sharp also. Hopefully, a sign of things to come.
Yeah, and let's be fair to John as well, that it was a bad
63.
contact that left him a quarter ball black. If he'd have got a normal contact, he'd have been better on the black. So it's just those little
64.
things. So the applause for Mark Selby now being 30 points in front with just 27 remaining. Black to come.
That was an important black, because these 2 players are probably the best in the game at getting snooker.
71.
So very important to make sure you kill the frame off when you get to the end of it. Don't let your opponent back to the table. I think maybe even 3 snookers, John. These players might fancy it.
Yeah, they certainly know the way around the snooker table. And looking at the time of this frame, it's been quick fire potting and break building. But we will have some very tactical games. I think that's bound to happen. Well, Mr. Brown, but I don't think John Higgins will bother coming back to the table. No, he wants his concession. It was just a loose safety shot, really. He was unlucky not to be on the red when he was in, but you don't give Mark Selby anything. And with that beautiful compile break of 76, he takes the first frame.
Yeah, brisk start, and it's worth telling you that that was the 202nd frame that they've played in professional snooker, and the margin of difference is 2 frames. Selby actually leads John Higgins. What a start. Very brisk business and tough school. One mistake on a safety. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not like John as well. I mean, just get the cue ball behind the black is the one thing. But we've got a shot later on we're going to show as well, which is this is just all about Mark Selby Hayes. This is what he's absolutely brilliant. This is a horrible little shot into a blind pocket that he drops in and keeps the break going. Looks nothing on the screen, but trust me, they're horrible. And I don't think there's anybody in the game who's better than him at awkward shots. You wouldn't play position there on purpose, but I thought Mark Williams used to be good at that sort of stuff. But these are horrible little shots. I think we saw a famous black miss like that one time, if I'm being honest. But there's nobody like him.
Steve, what's going to be the difference for John Higgins here, because he said after his semi-final, albeit that it was a comfortable victory in the end over Barry Hawkins, his levels are going to have to come up. Already there is a spring in his step from what we saw even early on in that frame.
Yeah, well, there's a thought. It may not play a part in it. There's 4 sessions of play. You've got to get out the starting blocks in each session as quickly as you possibly can. And I think that's possibly one of the keys to being a successful winner of this tournament. Yeah, John Higgins got out the blocks relatively quickly, but when the question was asked of Mark Selby, he got straight back into his stride.
The champion, 1 ahead.
Frame 2 underway. 8 frames will be played in this first session. And that's not the best safety shot from Mark. Left John a pot on here. Didn't have to do anything, no side. He can go around the back of the black. So good cueing, good centre ball striking needed. And got. Needs to stop short of the ball line once more, so he played it confidently enough. So as in the first frame, John Higgins gets first chance.
Green.
Yeah, 2 out of 2. A little bit ironic, really, that mistakes from safeties from 2 of the probably the best safety players in world snooker today.
4.
That was a nicely played shot as well. Couldn't really have picked the cue ball up in his hand and put it any better.
Well, I like to see 90% and above on safety, but they're in the final, so something's been working.
5.
I like to see about 30%, John. He used the bunch here to hold for this red to right corner. Don't miss the black.
At
John
this
Higgins,
level,
5.
you miss a black off the spot when you're in, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, I agree, John. He's going to struggle to win this final if he misses many of them. Got to keep unforced errors at a premium.
He's got the red to the right corner, but hampered, as you can see. But he thinks he can cut this one back to the left corner. It's thin. Cue ball could be going near the right middle here. He's overcut it. He's overcut it. Well, for once, missing the black off its spot has not been too costly. Playing the red to the middle. Thinks he's got more control for position.
1.
Checked it up nicely. And played it well. Don't think there's any value. I mean, he could pot the green and try and bring the black into play, but no value in that, Stephen, don't you think? It's a bit early to be thinking of that, I think. Just concentrate on the loose reds. And
I don't know, it's a pretty good call.
yeah, it was just one of those things that if you just caught the black the wrong side
4.
and couldn't get through to the red over the corner, then you'd have been thinking to yourself, well, why did I do that? So maybe concentrate and just build up a useful lead, and think that way at the moment.
Yeah, I think if we were 4 or 5 frames into this session, I think he
5.
would definitely have played that shot. I think he's been lucky there. If he's got this blue straight to the green pocket, he's been very lucky.
Yeah, that was a nice kiss on the blue. Stephen said, anything but straight, that would have been very awkward.
10.
But the run of the ball can change so quickly at this game. When you get it, take advantage.
Yeah, and especially over a 4-session match. The run of the balls can change so many times. Looks like he's going to leave himself further away from this red than he would like. I think the pink's available to left middle, so nothing to do with the cue ball. Just stun this red in, leave the cue ball where the red is.
Struck that beautifully. It's so easy on that type of shot to decelerate and just not get through it, but held the cue ball perfectly. Now, does the pink go on its own spot? You wouldn't mind it going on the black spot. That's handy.
23.
That's very handy.
So this could be the shot now that
24.
let's say wins John the frame, but if he strikes the red that's directly above the pink at pace, should open everything up here. Where's the pink going to go?
30.
Just about on this red. To the right middle, it's unmissable with that other red, but he won't want to nudge the other red, he want to pot it clean. And he did.
31.
Clean it, left that red over the middle. Might not play for it now, but it's always there as a reserve. Just looking for another 24 points to get to the snooker's required stage. That was a heavy contact. Didn't run through as he would like. He wanted to be straight on this red, the red immediately to the left
36.
of the pink. Now, as we watch it, he doesn't really want to play the red over the middle, but he'll have to now. Just got to avoid a kiss on a colour which could ruin position. I don't know whether he thought he could get a kiss on the black or something, I don't know. I do know he'll be playing a snooker now.
Yeah, that's once in the first frame, and once in this frame. The kick has ruined things for John Higgins when he's been in the balls. And people at home might say, "Oh, why don't you get the cue ball cleaned all the time?" But you don't want to break up your rhythm, do you? You want to, you don't want to be stopping all the time to get the cue ball cleaned.
It seems, I mean, you'd think roll up behind the green, but he's got a 42-point advantage, and he's thinking, can I put a colour safe and still get the snooker? Personally, I'd be rolling up to the green. But
John
regarded
Higgins,
as one of the best
37.
match players in the game, I won't criticise any decision he makes. He's not got the snooker. Mark Selby having a look, surely there's not a plant there. He's interested. No, not quite. Unless it flicks off the next red, it's hard to tell from behind the pocket. You'd only know if you look down, but it's not a direct plant. But it is a return to balk. I don't know whether it flicks off the third red. We'll see. No, it was never a plant. He was only just trying to find a path back to baulk. That red immediately to the left of the pink, I think it's available. That's the one that John played for before until he got the heavy contact on the blue. You can play this as a shot for nothing. As Stephen said, they recovered the cushions, and they seem to be coming off them a little bit slower than they had been doing. Both players will have to make a minor adjustment.
I think as a player you prefer that to the other extreme, the bouncing off the cushions. The table's pretty much uncontrollable when that happens.
Just feel if John can knock one more red in, he'd win the frame. Just a bit thick. That was half a chance. Couldn't wish for better than that. There is a red, so not completely snookered. Bit thick again. Bit thick, took the pace out of the cue ball. I suppose you could say not left anything that easy, but look of bemusement on John's face.
I bet the connoisseur fans of the safety game, John, will be fascinated to find out who gets the better of these exchanges over the next 2 days.
Yeah, and I know you're not one of those connoisseurs, Stephen, but the thing is, no matter, and that was a nice kiss, but no matter how good the safety is, it will come down eventually to who's going to knock the long reds in.
Yep. This looks a good cue ball, or is there going to be a gap? Excellent one.
Yeah, absolutely, that was better. So John Higgins has made that adjustment to get the pace of the table. And give him a mark here. Something to think about. And as I say, John Higgins having a 42-point lead. You feel just one more chance and the frame will be his. No pot there. Okay, you can see the red on the right-hand side of the table as he looks, left-hand side as we'll look. But if you play that to cross double, if you got it a fraction too thick, you could get into another red and keep the cue ball at this end. Over a minute thinking time. I don't think, I mean, if he could. He may play off the side cushion and try and nestle on the red near the top cushion, but I think the brown may be stopping that escape route. But if he plays the red on the left-hand side of the table, he's got to catch it mighty thin. Well, this is a big shout. Two-cushion escape with pace. I know he's very good at this, but this will be a good shot. If he catches it thick, he's lost the frame. He's caught it thick. Where's the red going? Oh, well, would you believe it?
Yeah, he looked to his opponent, raised a hand. Not a glimmer from John Higgins. I mean, this is horrendous. If you're John Higgins sat in your chair, look how thick he's in. He's going to win the frame now, and then the red goes in the middle. Yeah.
John's been around long enough to know that things happen. Well, there's nothing going to tempt Mark to play a pot, but the point is, if the red doesn't go in the pocket, look where the cue ball was. It was just a simple finish of the frame. Okay, it only cost 1 point, but it's kept him in the frame. Yes, if you're going to miss those there on the side of vitamin too thin, but once again, struggling with